Grinataha, accepting. Anuyugam tanuhu, transcendental bodies according to different yugas. Shukla, sometimes white. Raktaha, sometimes red. Tatha, as well as. Pitaha, sometimes yellow. Idanim Krishnatam Gataha. At the present moment, he has assumed a blackish color. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Garga Muni had said, your son Krishna appears as an incarnation in every millennium. In the past, he assumed three different colors, white, red, and yellow, and now he has appeared in a blackish color. Purport. This and the next 6 verses, verse 17 through 22, are taken from the 8th chapter of this canto, in which Garga Muni instructs Nanda Maharaj about Nanda's son Krishna. The translations found herein for these verses are based on those of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In chapter 8, where the verses originally appear, the reader will find extensive purports by Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishta Sabidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Pasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So this particular verse and the next 8 verses, as being mentioned in the purport, is what Nanda Maharaj is remembering when the great sage Gargacharya or the family priest of the Yadu dynasty, visited Nanda Maharaj. And that's the time when Garga Muni named both the children, Krishna and Ram, gave them the names in the cowshed. Because there was a fear that Kamsa would come to know. Gargacharya is a family priest of the Yadu dynasty, and he was sent by Vasudev secretly to the house of Nanda Maharaj to do the name giving ceremony. But then, fearing that Kamsa would immediately come to know that these are the ones who was the cause of his death, then immediately he will send his soldiers and probably kill Krishna, or maybe attempt to kill Krishna and Balram. So the only place they could really think of is the cowshed. Nobody can go in that place. Something unusual. Huh? But then Garga Muni gave the names to these two children in the cowshed. And Nanda Maharaj here, while all these Brajvasis are glorifying the Lord's wonderful qualities, that time Nanda Maharaj is remembering what Garga Muni had mentioned about his son Krishna. So this particular verse mentions how Garga Muni is saying that your son Krishna appears an incarnation every millennium. And in the past he assumed three different colors, white, red and yellow, and now he has appeared in a blackish color. So this is a prediction that Garga Muni mentions. It is said that in every yuga Krishna appears. Dharma samsthapanardaya sambhavami yuge yuge. And he appears in different colors. So Prabhupada at one place, he just questions. He says, why is that Krishna comes in different colors? Is there an answer? No answer. But he says Krishna is Swarat. Krishna is independent. He can appear in any color. Who is going to question him? Why is he appearing? Like once somebody asked a question to His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He said, why is the sky blue? He says, sky is blue because Krishna likes blue. That's why the sky is blue. So whatever Krishna likes, that's his prerogative. He can decide what color he wants. You can't ask him why you don't like this color, why you don't like that color. Like somebody's choice. Like, I may like a particular color, I may like a particular dress, or I may like a particular person. Like if you ask why, there's no question. So similarly, Krishna is like that. Krishna, can appear in any color, any form, any time. So Prabhupada mentions that Krishna is Swarat. He is independent. He is Abhigya and he is Swarat, omniscience and independent. The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, Abhigya Swarat. He says when Krishna is independent, Krishna can do whatever he wants to do. So that's his choice. So it is said that in the Treta Yuga, he appeared in a white complexion. In the Satya Yuga, in the Treta Yuga, he appeared in a reddish complexion. And in Dwapar Yuga, it says he appeared in a blackish color here. And later on we'll see how in Kali Yuga he appeared as in a yellow complexion. But here Garga Muni is mentioning that he assumed three different colors in different millenniums. And that this Yuga is being a Dwapar Yuga, says he has appeared in a blackish color. Prabhupada, he gives a very nice analogy how Krishna, when he appears, he is all attractive. In fact, the thing is that he is complete in itself. And he gives an analogy of sunshine. That how when sunshine, it's very bright. But within the sunshine, there are different colors. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So that's a rainbow color. But what is rainbow color? Nothing but the color coming out from the one color. So he gives quite a good analogy that there are so many avatars which emanate from the Lord in different times, and compared to like the waves in ocean, as you cannot count the waves in ocean, you cannot count the number of avatars that do come here. So similarly, Krishna comes in different avatars, in different yugas, different forms. But this once Krishna is that Krishna who is all attractive, who comes in the Dwapar Yuga. And that Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead, full of all opulences. Elsewhere, Srila Prabhupada gives another example of a Vaidurya stone. The Vaidurya stone is a jewel, and when you move it around, you can just see that they exhibit different colors. It reflects different colors. But otherwise, Vaidurya stone, if you see it from one angle, it may appear to be having no colors. But then when you reflect the sunshine, or when you reflect the sunlight over there, then it reflects different colors. So similarly, the different incarnations are like that. So many different colors. And Prabhupada mentions that Krishna is Amshi, from whom all the other incarnations come out, and others are Amsha. We are all parts and parcels. Even the incarnations, even the demigods, they are all different kalas and Amshas. So here, this particular verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, as mentioned in the purport in the 10th canto, 8th chapter, and the 13th verse, Prabhupada gives a very nice purport. And the same particular verse appears at that place. And said that how Krishna in different yugas appear and what is his purpose. He says that Krite Shukla Chatur Bhav, means in the Satyuga he comes as a 400 form, and he is Shukla Varna. That means he wears tree bark, he carries a deer skin, he has a sacred thread, and he has beads in his hand and a water pot and a rod. In other words, he comes in a form of, who undergoes meditation. Because in Satyuga, people had long life, and meditation was a process during that time. So people would be like, in the mode of goodness, and they would perform meditation for many years. So that was a process which was exhibited at that time. People were very peaceful. And it said in Treta Yuga, it says Tretayam Rakta Varnasya. In Treta Yuga, the Lord appears in a reddish complexion. And it said that in the brackets mentioned that in Treta Yuga, Lord appears in a green complexion also, like Lord Ramchandra. So it said that his red complexion, and he wears a triple belt of 3 Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda and Sama Veda. And the principal activity at that time is what? Sacrifice. Performing elaborate sacrifice. So he, over there, the incarnation which comes carries a ladle and a spoon for perform, and all the ingredients which are required for sacrifice. So people that time were engaged in, pleasing the Lord by performing sacrifices. That was the purpose over there. And in Dwapare Bhagwan Shama. This is in Dwapar Yuga, he comes in a dark blue complexion and wears a yellow garment. It is said that in Satyuga, people are very peaceful, Shanta. They were free from envy, well-wishers of all living entities. In Treta Yuga, they were Dharmashtas. Dharmashtas means they are Dharmavadis. They would follow the particular religious principles, and they would perform sacrifices, they would read the different Vedas, and then perform the Yagyas. In Dwapar Yuga, they were called Jigyasus. They were always very inquisitive to know, and that's why they would worship the personality of Godhead in that way. Like that would be huge temple worship, and as a form of the Lord, they would worship the Lord in that way, and with prayers. So Jigyasu. And in Kali Yuga, because of short life, nothing but just chanting and glorifying the Lord. Kalotat Hari Kirtanam. So it is said that the various incarnations, in fact, in Brahma Samhita, Brahmaji mentions, Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyaminitishta Nana Avataram Krodha Kintu Prodya Nikala Parama Govinda Madhipurusham Tamam Bajami. Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyaminitishtan. It says Krishna appears in various incarnations. So many incarnations have appeared. And Prabhupada mentions that if you just understand the appearance and the activities of the Supreme Lord, then your life is perfect and you are liberated. He says it's an open door. He says you don't have to even engage in any of the translated activities. You just have to understand that why the Lord appears, what is the purpose of his appearance, and what are his activities, and then have faith in those activities and have firm belief that, oh yes, this is what the Lord does in his various incarnations. If you just understand that, then then your life is perfect. Prabhupada mentions in one of the places in his discussion when Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was asking some question, he says, then you are liberated. So this is what happens. He says, but simply understand the process of appearance and disappearance. And Prabhupada at one place is mentioning that Krishna appears in different incarnations, different forms. But how do we accept that? We accept on the basis of the Shastra and by authorities. Acharupasanam. So when he is speaking to Arjun on the battlefield, he actually quotes. He says, I am not saying Asita, Devala, Vyas and others have also mentioned this. Arjun mentions that. So basically what we need in this world is an authority we have to rely on. If at all, if you have to accept anyone as an incarnation also, we need to understand, the authority. Who is the authority? Who is claiming himself to God? Which Shastra mentions that? Prabhupada always says that we accept Krishna as Supreme Personal Godhead because Madhvacharya has confirmed it, Ramanacharya has accepted it, Shankaracharya also has completely accepted it, Vishnu Swami has accepted. All the four sampradayas, the main acharyas have accepted them as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the reason why we accept Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here it is mentioned that Garga Muni is saying that Krishna is appeared in a blackish color. And earlier in the past he assumed three different colors: white, red and yellow. So assuming that these are the four colors, that is white, red, yellow and black, and in the previous verses and in the subsequent verses in the 11th canto it's mentioned that Krishna in Kali Yuga appears as in a complexion which is different from these three colors. Krishna Varna Tusha Krishna Sango Pangasa Parshada Yat Yagya Sankirtana Praya Yajantihi Sumedasaha. When Karpajana Muni is asked by Nimi Maharaj about a different caste, so he mentions very nicely, and then he comes to this particular verse where he says Krishna Varna, that means this particular incarnation in this age of Kali Yuga is going to glorify the supreme activities of the Lord. Krishna Varna. But Tvisha Krishna, he is not blackish. He is something else. Sango Pangasa Parshad, he is coming with his associates. He is coming with his companions. He is coming with his astra. And what is astra? His astra is nothing but his beauty. And what does he do? He just not only chants the holy names, but he infuses this holy name to others. Yagya Sankirtan Praya Yajanti Sumedasa. So this is what the people who are intelligent have worshipped in this age of Kali Yuga. And elsewhere in the Mahabharata is mentioned Suvarna Varna Himango Varangas Chandanan Gadi. It says this particular person in the age of Kali Yuga appears in a golden complexion, in a yellow complexion. Varanas Chandanan Gadi. Sannyasa Chama Shanta. He says he comes in a form of a sannyasi and he just preaches this message. So by just seeing through the Shastra and by hearing from the Acharyas, we understand that it's not no one but Lord Chaitanya who comes in this age of Kali Yuga in that yellow complexion, as is mentioned in this particular verse. In the other yugas, what is mentioned of yellow is no one but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but in a very different way. He is coming as a Channa avatar. Channa avatar means a covered way. He comes in a role of a devotee, but then he is none other than the Lord, preaching the glories of the holy name in this age of Kali Yuga. So basically it is said that when we understand from the Shastric point of view, when we understand from the Acharyas, then we accept it. Otherwise we do not accept it. So it is said that Garga Muni, he wrote what is called as Garga Samhita, and there's a very elaborate uh, book or verses composed of verses which glorify nothing but the wonderful activities of the Supreme Lord and his wonderful associates. It is said that Krishna actually, on the insistence of Radharani and Brahma, he actually spoke about his glories to Srimati Radharani. The message or this Leela was later on passed on to Sheshanag, who later on explained this to Brahma. Brahma spoke this to Dharma. Dharma then spoke this to Narnarayan Rishi. Narnarayan Rishi spoke this to Narad Muni. And then Narad Muni spoke this to Garga Muni. So Garga Muni actually heard this from Narad Muni, the wonderful glories of the activities of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. And then Narad Muni told Garga Muni that you should compose the literature which consists of all the verses which glorify the Supreme Lord. And you should include my conversation with King Bahulashva. What I spoke to Bahulashva, that particular thing you should compose. So Garga Muni, he said, although I am not qualified, but because you instructed me, I will do this. And then he sat down and he wrote what is called as Garga Samhita, which is nothing but, wonderful activities of the Lord in detail, describing the Lord's different leelas, the pastimes. So in this particular place, Garga Muni, it is mentioned that when he comes to give the name to Krishna and Balram, he comes to Nanda Maharaj's place. It's said that Nanda Maharaj welcomes Garga Muni to his house, considering that he's fortunate to have a great Acharya come to his place and bless his house. And then he himself insists that you give the names to this. So Garga Muni then takes the boys to the cowshed and then looks at both of them, and first he gives the name to Balram. He says, because this person, the yogis, they get great happiness by looking at him. That's why it's called as Ramante. The Ramati also is because, the Lord himself is going to get a lot of bliss and happiness by performing, so he's called as Ramati also. And Ramayati is because he is going to give a lot of happiness to the devotees. So seeing all this, he says, this boy will be named Ram. So he's giving name to actually Balram. He says he will be named as Ram. And because he was attracted from the womb of Devaki to Rohini, he is also been known as Sankarshan. And said because at the end of the millennium, when everything gets destroyed, he only remains Shesha. That's why he will be called as Shesh. And because he will have a lot of strength, he will be also called as Bala. So he gives the name Balaram to the elder brother of Krishna. And then when it comes to Krishna, there is a very nice verse which glorifies the Lord. And he says, Sadhya prani pavitrani jagatam mangalani chaha. Means this particular child, Sadhya prani pavitrani, he will be the person who will purify all the living entities in this world. Sadhya prani pavitrani jagatam mangalani chaha. He says he will create auspiciousness to all, one and all, in the entire universe. In fact, no one can make anything auspicious except the Supreme Lord. When the sages at Naimisharanya asked different questions to Suta Goswami, that time Suta Goswami said, Munaya sadhu prishtayam bhavadbhi loka mangalam. Jat krita Krishna samprashno yena atma suprasiddha. Because you are asking questions which are related to Krishna, they are beneficial not only to you or me or for anyone else who are around here, but to the entire universe. Why? Because it is connected to Krishna. Yat krita Krishna samprashno yena atma suprasiddhati. He says, Sadhya prani pavitrani. So this is a personality who will, purify all the living entities in this world. Not only the human beings, but each and every living entity in this place of creation. Jagatam Mangalanicha. He says, entire universe will be completely auspicious by his presence. He is going to make that auspicious. And then he says the different words, Krishna. It is Ka, Ri, Sha, Na, and A. So each of the letters also has an importance. So it is said that in the previous times, when our parents would give us names, they would give something which is related to the Lord. Nowadays we have different types of names. We have Tony, or we have Doni, or this one, which doesn't have anything to connect it to the Lord. But if you see, our parents or our grandparents would give the names like Subramaniam or Venkatesh or Srinivas, something which is related to the Lord, because that is connected. And when you give the name like this, you actually expect some good qualities within that person by naming them. It is said that when you name someone as cruel or rascal, that person becomes a rascal. But if you name them with nice, sweet names, which is somewhat connected directly or indirectly to the Lord, then you expect some good qualities to come in them. But here is this personality whom Garga Muni is going to give a name. He is actually trying to tell that how Krishna, who is all attractive, he is making these names also so powerful. What does these names actually, the letters actually imply, or what does letters mean? He says that Sadhya Prani Pavitrani Jagata Mangalani Cha Ka Akara Kamala Kanti Ri Akara Rikara, sorry, Ka Kara Kamala Kanti Rikara Ramad Ityapi. He says Ka Kara Kamala Kanti. What does Ka represent? Ka represents Kamala Kanta. Kamala Kanta means the husband of goddess of fortune. He says Krishna is none other but the husband of goddess of fortune. Lakshmi Sahasra Satsambrama Sevamanam Govindam Adipurusham Tamam Bhajami. He says, if anybody is the most richest person, maybe is the Krishna. He is husband of goddess of fortune. It is said that in the spiritual world, even Lakshmi ji is expecting or hoping to sweep the floor. Who is goddess of fortune? People are after the goddess of fortune in this world. People are after Lakshmi, but Krishna is Lakshmi Pati. He says Ka Kara Kamala Kanta. What does Ka represent? Kamala Kanta. And Ri Kara Ram It Api. Because Krishna is a person who enjoys, who is full in himself. And that's the reason he is called Ram Iti Api. He says Ri Kara Ram Iti Api. Krishna is full of pleasure. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Mahesharam. Suridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. Krishna is the only person who can enjoy. He is a supreme enjoyer. It is said that everyone is enjoyed and he is a supreme enjoyer. Krishna is Purusha and we are Prakriti. Nothing in this world is there which we consider ourselves to be enjoying. It's actually Krishna. Krishna is supreme enjoyer. When we give him pleasure, that time we also indirectly feel that happiness within. So in the spiritual world, everything is orchestrated in such a way that Krishna is given the pleasure. Although there is a competition how Krishna tries to see how he can give pleasure to others. Krishna becomes the servant of his servitors. But the mood is that how to give Krishna pleasure, how to please Krishna. And that's what deity worship is. Like when we do deity worship, that means we just do everything to please the Lordship, Shri Radha Gopinath. How can we dress him very nicely? How can we offer the best of bhogas to him? How can we offer him the best of things to please him? How can we arrange wonderful festivals to give him pleasure? Because Krishna is a person who is that person who enjoys. And then afterwards, Shakara Shadgunopati. Because Shakara Shadgunopati means what? He is full of 6 opulences. No one in this world can say that anybody is full of 6 opulences. Fame, name, Aishwaryasya samagrasya veeryasya shashya jnana vairagaschaiva shannam bhagitingana. Krishna is full of all opulences. Somebody may be rich, but who can be richer than Krishna? Somebody can be famous, but who can be famous, the most famous than Krishna? Somebody is knowledgeable, who can be more knowledgeable than Krishna? Somebody is very strong, but who can be more strong than Krishna? If you see all these leelas, Krishna doesn't have to show his muscles. Just effortlessly he would just perform these leelas, just pick up Paritsasur, throw him, expand himself into Bakasur's mouth and just kill him out, come out of the mouth of Agasur and destroy him. Putana just sucks and kills. Krishna doesn't need all this to build up the muscle to kill. Krishna effortlessly kills. In fact, in Garga Samhita it's mentioned that how Kamsa, he fought with all these personalities, all these asuras you can say. Arishta, Baka, Agha, all these people he killed, he defeated them and he made them his servant. That means you can understand how Kamsa may be powerful, how much powerful Kamsa is, that he was able to subdue all these Rakshasas. But when Krishna had to kill, what he did, he just pulled Kamsa down and then one fish finished. That's all, nothing else. That's the strength of Krishna. So, full of all six opulences. Shakaro Shadgunopati. And then, Sha also means Shwet Deepa Nivasakrit. He is a person who sleeps on the Shwet Nivas. He just resides in Shwetadeep. And then Nakaro Narsingoyam. What does Na stand for? Narsingoyam. Narsingoyam, because he is the one who removes the obstacles on the path. So when Krishna is there, nothing can be an obstacle actually. Everything is just orchestrated, everything is just arranged. There cannot be any obstacles. If there are any obstacles, they are nothing but just for us, maybe to take shelter of him more. Otherwise, so when you actually are there in place or in presence of Krishna, there cannot be any obstacles. So Na represents Narsingo. And these all Garga Muni is mentioning. Na karo Narsingoyam, A karo Aksharo Agnibuk. What does A stand for? Akshara. Akshara means immortal. Krishna is immortal and Krishna is also infallible. Akshara also means infallible, Akshara also means immortal. Krishna is the only person who can claim himself to be immortal. Even the so-called Hiranyakashipu, who tried himself to be immortal, had to be killed. He was killed by Narsimhadev. He actually took a boon by which he thought that he is immortal. When he asked, you give me a boon that I become immortal, Brahma said, even I cannot, because even I am not immortal. I also alive, although Brahma's lifespan is so much. But he said that I cannot give you that particular boon of immortal, because I also have to die. But only one person is there who is immortal, that's Krishna. Akaro Aksharo. And Akshara also means infallible. He doesn't fall down. He doesn't fall down. Living entities, they fall down. There are some who don't, some do. And those who fall down are in this material world and we are conditioned by these three modes of material nature. But Krishna is beyond his Shara and Akshara. That's why in Bhagavad Gita he is named as Purushottamaha. He is a Purusha Uttama. Of all the personality, all the human beings, the Purusha Uttama. Because he is beyond Shara and beyond Akshara. So it said that Akaro Aksharo. And also it said that Akaro Akshara and Agni Book. Krishna is also called as Agni Book. Agni Book means he is the receiver or recipient of all the sacrifices. That whatever sacrifices one performs is ultimately meant for him. He is a receiver of all sacrifices. There is no one else who is a receiver of sacrifices. And is an enjoyer of those sacrifices. So whenever a person performs sacrifices, it's for the pleasure of the Lord, pleasure of Lord Krishna. So this is how he mentioned. Shat prana pavitrani jagata mangalam api. ककार कमलाकांत रीकार रमत्यपि शकार षड्गुणोपति श्वेत द्वीप निवासकृत नकार नरसिंहोयम अकार अक्षरग्निबुक. So this is the description which Garga Muni gave about Krishna. So then Garga Muni is explaining how this Krishna, because everything is contained in Krishna, the name of Krishna could be how powerful. So when one chants the name of Krishna, how powerful that can be, and how much fortunate are we that in this age of Kali Yuga, we are allowed to chant these names of Krishna. That's why in the Brihad Narayana Purana it's mentioned that, not Brihad Narayana Purana, Kali Chantana Upanishad, it is said that Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Iti Shodashaka Nam Kali Kalmasha Nashnam, Nato Paratarapaya Sarva Vedesha Drishyate. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shiksha mentioned Nam Akari Bhavata Nija Sarva Shakti. So when we are allowed to chant this, we should understand that how fortunate we are and with what gravity we should chant this. Because everything is contained in this name. Everything is contained in this name. In fact, Rupa Goswami just mentions, very nice, all of you know this, but just for my, Rupa Goswami is saying that Tunde Tandavini Ratim Vitanute Tundavali Labhyate Karna Kroda Kadambini Ghatayate Karna Budebhya Spriham Cheta Prangana Sangini Vijayate Sarvendriyanam Ritim Na Jane Janita Kyadbir Amrita Krishneti Varnadvai Tunde Tandavini Ratim Vitanute. It is said that, when it says Tunde Tandavini, when I try to chant, Rupa Goswami says, I have only one tongue. And this is dancing, the names are dancing on my tongue. Tunde Tandavini, Tandavini means dancing. Ratim, Vitanute, that time I feel that I should have thousands of, Tundavali Labhyate. He says, I feel that I should have millions of tongues to chant the holy names. So Prabhupada says that this is what it should be. That when we chant the holy names, and if we think that after finishing our rounds, we think that, I should keep it aside, the beads, that means we are in a diseased condition still. He says that's why we should chant minimum of 16 rounds. Because that's a minimum. What is really required is that have you developed that attachment to the holy name? He says if you have developed attachment to the holy name, that's your perfection. Then he quotes, Rupa Goswami says, Tunde Tandavani Ratim Vitanute Tundavali Labhyate. And then he's talking about the years. Karna Kroda Kadambini Ghatayate Karna Brudebhya Spriham. He says, when I hear these holy names, when it goes into my holes of my ears, he says, then what happens is that it sprouts, it explodes, and I require millions of years to hear. So that's the most important thing that Rupa Goswami is expecting, that I want to hear, I desire millions of years. He says, Karnar Budhebhya. Or Budhebhya means millions of years. And Cheta Prangana Sangini. This is when it enters into my heart. Cheta Prangini Sangini. Vijayate Sarvendriyanam. He says, then it conquers all my senses. And what does it? What conquers all the senses? He says, Na jane janita kyadbhir amrite. I do not know what is there nectar in these two words. Krishneti, Krishna. I do not know what nectar is there in these two words. Krishneti, Varnati. These two letters, Krishna, I don't know what is there in this. Because when I chant, I desire millions of tongues. When I goes into my ears, I desire millions of years. So this is what, shows that when we chant these holy names of the Lord, what should be the mood in which we should chant? We should consider also as fortunate to have received this mantra. That's why it's called as a Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And when we accept this gravity by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, said that Krishna incarnated definitely in Dwapar Yuga in a blackish color, but he has also incarnated his age of Kali Yuga in the form of his holy name. Kalutad Hari Kintanam. He says in the Kali Rupe Nam Krishna avatar. Krishna is incarnated in his age of Kali Yuga in the form of his holy name. And when we take shelter of this holy name, then we have achieved a perfection. Nama Gune Sada Ruchi. It said that all the things in this world, everything is there in this. If you just take shelter of the holy names of the Lord and understanding with this particular understanding that how that word Krishna, whom Gargamuni named, he is this particular child Krishna. If you just understand each and every letter, how powerful it is describing, and when you chant these names, how powerful that is. Only problem is that with us, because we are in a disease condition, we are not able to taste the nectar. As Rup Goswami mentions, like a jaundiced person who cannot understand the sweetness of the sugarcane juice. Similarly, because we are in disease condition, we are not able to understand the sweetness of this holy name. But by continuously chanting, without making an offense, then probably one day we will be able to relish the holy name. And then when we relish holy name, that time we will be achieving the perfection of life. So this is what I wanted to share today according to this verse. Very nicely it was expounded in Garga Samhita by Garga Muni, which is not here, but then when Garga Muni explains the word Krishna, so then we understand how much gravity, how much seriously that we should take shelter of these holy names. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada.